Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a guide for round 5 of the 2022 Manufacturers Cup Stage 2 taking place at Yamagiwa with the Group 4 cars. So let's go ahead and take a look at the race details. 10 lap race with a rolling start. Fuel and tire wear ×1. Racing medium, racing soft tires are available. Racing medium tires are required, and there is a mandatory pit stop. So you need to pit one time. You need to use the racing medium tires for at least one lap so you don't get a 1-minute penalty after the race ends. More on that later, but let's go ahead and get started with the lap guys. So bring yourself towards the right side of the track and start to brake at the 50-meter board. You're using a little less than 50% braking power and smoothly turning in. Just trying to be really smooth through here to gradually bring down your speed. And then by the time you're pointing towards this final grandstand, you should be at full throttle. And for this turn and the next long turn, you want to be really smooth with your inputs so you can try to not scrub off too much speed. But anyways, for the uphill S's, you can easily take them flat out. Just smoothly turn on in. Bring yourself towards the right. Brake just after the curb on the right starts. You can brake a little later if you want to go a little wider into this turn. Just like the first turn, just trying to be really smooth through these turns. A little bit of throttle control as well. Then stay on the right side of the track. You're going to look for the 100-meter board. And at least how I do it, I brake before the 100-meter board so I can have a safe entry through the chicane. Brake hard for a while. Slowly easing off of the brakes, carefully getting on the throttle, and I kind of keep it safe, just trying to stay on the curves and don't go past them into the grass, just to try to keep the car nice and stable. Then bring yourself towards the right, brake when the barrier on the right starts, or just as the letters on the ground end. Brake hard for a while, and you can actually take advantage of the curves to help with the turn-in. I actually take advantage of it, and it helps my car turn in a bit more, so I could be just a little more aggressive there. Now for the other awkward chicane, I start to lift off of the throttle right here, brake when the curb on the right ends, quick burst of braking, just trying to turn in, just trying to be really smooth through here. It is a bit hard to nail down, so if there's one chicane that you want to practice, it's definitely going to be the second chicane. Then brake at the 50-meter board. So I go a little deep into this turn to try to go for a late apex so I can try to have a slightly faster exit. But that is going to be it for this lap guide. In a moment, we'll go ahead and get started with the race strategies. And as that's about to show up, so we're doing a 10-lap race at Yamagiwa, Group 4 cars. Fuel and tire are ×1, so none of that will be an issue, but racing medium tires are required, and there is one mandatory pit stop, so you need to fulfill both things to avoid getting a 1-minute penalty after the race ends. If you remember the Manufacturers Cup race last week, which is Laguna Seca, we had a very similar situation where there was a mandatory pit stop and there was a tire requirement. And the strategy for last week's race was to do as many laps as you can on the soft tires, and then do one lap on the required harder tire compound. It's basically going to be the same story here. You do as many laps as you can on the racing soft tires, and then you just do one lap on the racing medium tires. So in this case, because it's a 10-lap race, you're doing 9 laps on the racing soft tires and only 1 lap on the racing medium tires. And that's the way to go if you're starting in the front of the pack. If you're starting in the middle or in the back of the pack, you can switch it up. So you start on the racing medium tires, pit at the end of lap 1, switch over to the racing soft tires, and that's basically it. So you do 1 medium, 9 soft. So the strategy is pretty straightforward for this race. So you just need to make sure you do the mandatory pit stop and use the racing medium tires for at least 1 lap. And you just want to make sure that you're able to nail down every single lap. It's all about consistency, just trying to keep up the pace without making too many mistakes. So skipping on over towards the end of lap 9, there is a bit of tire wear, but it's nothing to worry about. Our tires are just fine. Pitting on in to switch over to the racing medium tires and to fulfill our required pit stop. Stay in between the white lines when you're pitting in so you don't get a 3-second penalty. And it's going to be the same story when we come out of the pit stops, which I'll mention in a bit. The pit loss is 14 seconds, so if you're thinking about a 2-stop, please do not do a 2-stop. This is a 1-stop race. 9 soft, 1 medium, or vice versa. And then when you're coming out of the pit stops, just make sure you stay in between the white lines so you don't get another 3-second penalty as you're coming out of the pit stops. And there's really nothing else to talk about, so in a moment we're skipping over towards the very end of the race to see our total time. Luckily this race is a heck of a lot more straightforward than the Nations Cup race, because testing for that one is really frustrating since that one has dynamic weather. This race is actually a bit of a short one, 17-minute race, so this one was actually 17 minutes and 8 seconds, and yeah, bit of a short race this one. But that's going to be it for this guide. So make sure you do your mandatory pit stop. Make sure you use the racing medium tires for at least 1 lap. And that's it for this guide. So hopefully you liked this video. If you did, you can press the like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I do have a memberships program thing, which you can check out down below if you want to further support the channel. And this is Mr. MCA. Have a good race. Stay hydrated. And I'll see you in the next video.